Are you like me? Were you stuck in a rut, trying to lose weight, feeling like you were doing a lot of the right things, working out a couple times a week, trying to make some healthier decisions with your diet, but nonetheless, nothing changed? So I really started focusing on working out in November of 2024. And I would go to the gym 4 or 5 times a week. And I did that for a year and a half. And I would get compliments saying, "Oh, I can see you've bulked up, you've put on, muscle, but I didn't feel any better health-wise. I really don't think I looked much better. And so after the consistency in the gym and not really getting the consistency I wanted on the scale, it I knew the answer all along was going to be fixing my diet. So this year, 2026, January 12th, this is what I started at, weighing 192 pounds, and I'd had enough. And one day I was watching YouTube and I came across a video where a bodybuilder was talking about after a bulk, they go through and do a cut. And he was showing all the foods that he would eat. And it just kind of clicked to me. I was like, I can eat that stuff. That's all stuff I like. Biggest problem with dieting is I just get hungry and I cheat and then it all falls apart. And so I thought, well, the way he's talking, I'm not going to go hungry and there's going to be plenty of things I like to eat. And so let me give it a try. What do I got to lose other than some fat? And so I started on it and just almost immediately weight started falling off. And the more the weight came off, the more like obsessed I got with continuing uh, the process that I had learned through his video to try to maintain, one, not being hungry, and two, just keeping the pounds from falling off. And looking back, it's like the simplest thing ever. Like it's so simple, but yet it isn't easy. I wouldn't dare say it's easy. I think for a lot of people, it is very doable if they really, really, really want to commit to the weight loss. There are certain things that you just have to, in my opinion, give up or reduce and account for. And one of those is alcohol. I'm not a big drinker, anyways, but I just think that's something that it just has to go away for a while. And then you just have to be accurate with, tracking the food you eat. If you do those things, um, in the end, you'll end up with the weight loss that you want. So the main aspects to what I learned in the video was essentially just macro tracking and eating at a calorie deficit. When people ask me how I've lost weight, that's my answer: macro track, eat at a calorie deficit. And then if they want more details, I'll talk more about it. I love talking about it. So people have learned, if you don't want to talk about it, don't ask me about it because I'm going to talk about it. And so that's why I wanted to make this YouTube video. I wanted to talk to more people about it because I wasn't super unhealthy before, but I was on my way. I mean, I didn't have high blood pressure. Just really never have had issues with blood pressure, but I was starting to get rheumatoid arthritis. Um, my joints hurt a lot. So cutting out, doing the macro tracking and eating at a calorie deficits cut out a lot of processed foods. So I'm 7 months into this. About 6 months in, I had my first follow up with my rheumatologist, which just coincided with a 6 month visit. And I was talking to her. I was like, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I quit taking the medicine, and I feel great. Like I just feel great. And she was kind of blown away. She really just wanted to talk to me about what I had done to lose the weight because she said, "You don't even look like the same person," which is flattering to me because I'm like, here's a doctor who, nothing against doctors. I mean, I'm a nurse myself, so I'm around doctors all the time, but I'm typically they're prescribing meds and they're fixing problems because their patients don't want to really fix the root problem. So like this lady never once told me, "Hey, lose weight, your rheumatoid arthritis will get better." Um, because how many people does she see every day who's just not going to make any kind of change? Anyway, so she essentially said, "I really don't think you need to see me anymore. But let's not be too hasty and let's still check back in 6 months. And if something comes up in the meantime, call and we'll schedule an appointment and we'll kind of see what's going on. But for now, I think you're okay to stay off the medicine and just keep moving forward with what you're doing a good job." And then I work with a lot of surgeons. And so initially, when I started losing the weight, certain people would notice and say, "Oh, yeah, I can tell you're losing weight. You're looking a little slimmer." When I hit the 35-pound mark, there was nobody who didn't say something to me about my weight loss. And these are people who had seen me through the process, maybe not every day, but at least maybe once a week. And then there's a couple who hadn't seen me in probably the 6 months just because our schedules never aligned. And uh, I really just can't talk to anybody now without someone addressing my weight loss. And so uh, this is what I currently look like. I'm down 40 pounds, almost 41 pounds. It kind of fluctuates from day to day. And I'm not done. Every time I reach a goal, I move the goalpost. And so I have no idea what my body fat is. One mistake I made when this whole process started is I did not assess my body fat and know what it was, and I haven't done anything with it since. I just know how I feel. I know how my clothes fit. I know what I look like, and that's kind of what I go on. And so at some point, I do need to get my body fat measured because I really want to keep going until I'm either 10% or single digit. And I think I can get there. I really do. Before I started this, my cardio was walking, which I love walking. I walk a lot. But I've actually, with the weight loss and the way my joints feel, I've been able to start running. I haven't ran in years. I haven't ran since I was in the Army. And some of that's because I have a bad knee, but it really doesn't bother me. I just don't do a lot of high impact sprinting or anything like that. I just steady pace jog more than run. But I run 3 times a week. And I think that, along with continuing my macro tracking at a calorie deficit, is going to eventually get me to the body fat percentage that I want. And I've never been low body fat percentage in my life. I've never been super big. I'm always kind of a medium build, but I just once in my life I want to be super low, be as peeled as I can be, just see what it looks like. And I think that'll be too hard to maintain, so I will probably always try to maintain lower teens. But at some point I really think I'll also want to do kind of like a maintain bulk or maybe even do a true bulk for a little while. Because I do enjoy lifting weights and I don't ever want to be a bodybuilder, but I wouldn't mind putting on a little more mass. So if weight loss is something that you're struggling with and you've tried everything under the sun, even the shots, which, the fear with the shots is they're temporary. I don't really know how expensive they are anymore. I know when they first came out, there was some concern over pricing and availability. I'm sure some of that's been lined out, but I really don't think you need them, honestly. A lot of the docs I know aren't big components of them being used for weight loss. They understand it and they're not completely against it, but they're more in favor of other methods. I feel like this method of macro tracking calorie deficit would work for almost anybody, assuming they can commit to it. If you want to feel better in your clothes, feel healthier, and just achieve maybe a look that you feel like was unachievable, or just, again, it doesn't have to be vanity. It could just be a matter of like self-confidence. I feel so much more confident now with the weight loss, and I really enjoy when someone points out my success with it and ask me. A lot of people ask me. I've had too many people who've wanted to take my advice yet. I'm actually waiting for the day that someone says like, "Hey, I'd love for you to help me do what you did," because really, I don't think it's hard. I think it's very doable for the average person. So, if you see this video, just know that there's methods out there that don't involve crash diets. They don't involve going hungry. They don't involve medications. They don't involve surgeries. I've seen, again, I'm a nurse. I work surgery. I've seen people have abdominal surgery, gastric sleeves, gastric bypass, and get amazing results from them. But the one thing I see more than not is either it's so temporary because their habits bring them back into overeating and gaining weight. There's really not anyone that I have kept track with that hasn't put some of the weight back on. Some have gone almost completely back, maybe not to being morbidly obese, but to definitely, being obese. So, I think the method I have now, even if someday I decide like I don't want to be single digit teens body fat, um, I think the method will keep me from ever becoming obese again and just keep me at a healthy body weight. And so if this video has helped you, maybe drop it a like, drop me a follow. I'm going to try to start working on some more health focused content, and I appreciate you watching.